Mr. Clare here for Clare Maths. Today I'm going to go through the Essential Skills National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2, practice paper for the SQA 2025 National 5 Maths exam. Now, this was made by my fellow teacher, Mr. Rennie, so heads up to him. And if you want to get access to this, you can get it on my websites for ease. Okay, it's claremaths.com. Now, just a little heads up, remember, we are in exam season. If you're watching this now or between now and May the 14th, the night before the exam, I am going to give an exclusive live stream to my members only at 8 o'clock, going through exam prep, last minute questions, anything we need just to brush us up and get us really confident for that exam. £4.99, join if you fancy joining. This video is sponsored by Lecky, and they are offering viewers of this channel 30% off of any of their books. All you have to do is use the code CLAREONMATHS, and the link to their books is down below. Now let's look at a couple of their books to highlight. We've got National 5 Maths and Higher Maths, and these are complete revision and practice. 2 books in one. We cover the whole course. Here's a random page, for instance, working simultaneous equations algebraically. You can see how good that book is and how clear it looks. But also at the end, practice exam papers that look exactly like the SQA exam papers that are published. Discount code CLAREONMATHS. Click the link to order now. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2, Question 1. Roy has a slow puncture in his tyre, so it puts pressure in when he arrives at work. He fills it up to 32 psi, pounds per square inch, doesn't need matter what that is. It's considered flat and unsafe on less than 20. His tyre is losing pressure at 10.5% per hour. Establish if it's safe to drive after 4 hour shift. So it mentions the percent, it mentions the time, it's appreciation and depreciation. So it's losing 10.5, so I'll start with 100%. I take away 10.5% to see what I've got left. And again, this is a calculator paper, so don't get silly. Use your calculator to its full potential. 89.5. And I change that to a decimal by dividing by 100 to get 0.895. So that's step 1. So I now take what I started with, 32, times the 0.895 to the power of, well, 4 hours. And just get my answer. 32 times 0.895 to the power of 4 is 20.533. 20.53, I'll just say, pounds per square, I'll just put PSI. So that's what they've done. So is it safe to drive? Well, it said to be safe to drive on less than 20, it's safe just as 20.53 is bigger than 20. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2, Question 2. A cat toy is formed of a hemisphere with a cone on top as shown in the diagram. The toy is 6 centimeters wide, 9.2 centimeters high. Find the volume of the toy. So we're adding 2 volumes together. Start of the exam paper. A cone is 1/3 pi r squared times h. A sphere, it tells you, it doesn't tell you a hemisphere, is 4/3 pi r cubed. But you can always half that to get a hemisphere. So, very careful with these questions. They often try and trick you by giving you a height that isn't the height of the thing you need. Notice the 9.2 goes from the bottom to the top. We need the height of the cone, which goes from here to here. So that's my first thing to think about. And how big is that? Well, the diameter of the hemisphere is 6, which means that from the middle of it, which will be here, to here is 3. I've just wrote 6, but I mean 3. So that means that 9.2 minus 3 is 6.2. So that's my starting position, and now I can work on this. So let's do the cone plus the hemisphere. And I usually do this in one go in terms of what I'm going to write here. So it's 1/3. Always write out what you're doing, times pi. The radius I've just worked out is 3. And the height I've just worked out is 6.2. So there's one sum. I can just shove that in a bracket then. Plus, well, it's a half of a sphere, a half, times 4/3, times pi, times, well, it's 3 cubed because that's the radius. So you can do it in 2 separate sums and then add it all together. Or if you're confident with your calculator and bracket skills, just do it in one go, as long as you write out both things. If you are doing it separately, make sure you do not over round your answer. I would round 3 decimal places for both, then round at the end if it asks you to round. Because if you round both early, then round again, you could end up with the wrong answer. So let me do my sum now, my calculator. So it's bracket 1 divided by 3, because it's a third, times pi, times 3 squared, times 6.2, close the bracket, plus, open a bracket, 1 divided by 2, times 1 divided by 3, times 4 divided by 3, times pi, times 3 cubed, close my bracket, I get 114.982. Which, to two significant figures I asked for in the question, that's cut in here, 110 centimetres cubed, and we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2 Question 3. The diagram shows parts of a circle. The radius is 14, the height is 23. Calculate the length of the chord AB. So we can actually calculate a length inside a circle. A lot of the time this is going to be Pythagoras. So what has it told us? It's got a funny place to draw that radius, but that's okay. I can make a right angle triangle by drawing two lines in here. Now, when you're drawing your right angle triangle, SQA can be quite funny about this. Make sure you put a right angle in to note that it is a right angle triangle, or you might lose a mark if you make a mistake. So let's see what we know. The radius is 14, so centre to the outside over here is 14. And I've got 23 in total, so I can do 23 minus 14, which is 9. So I now know that this is 9. I don't know this, so I'll call this x. But I know the radius is also 14, which is here. So that means that x squared equals 14 squared minus 9 squared. Pythagoras. I'm finding the shorter side. I know this because opposite the right angle is always the longer side. So you take away when you find the shorter side. So that means that x is straight away the square root of all of that. So using my calculator, square root, I'll open a bracket, 14 squared minus 9 squared, I'll close my bracket. X is 10.72, which means that AB is 2 times 10.72. So about 21.44 or 21.4 centimetres. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2 Question 4. The points A, 6, 9 and B, 4y, 4y squared lie on a straight line. Find the gradient. Again, quite a non-standard question this, but it has come up in the past where they give you an algebraic point and you just need to work through it as if it wasn't algebraic. Just do the gradient. Okay, so let's do the gradient. Gradient formula, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So we call the first point x1, y1. I would advise you call the algebraic one x2, y2 so it becomes first. So that's 4y squared minus 9. 4y minus 6. Oh, look, an algebraic fraction. So it's just turned out an algebraic fractions question. So I need to simplify that. So simplifying algebraic fractions is always the same. Factorise the top, factorise the bottom, and see what you're left with. So let's look at the top first of all. Well, the top has not got a common factor, but it is a y squared, so it's a difference of two squares. Square root of 4 is 2, so I get 2y and 2y. And 9 is 3 and 3, so it's plus 3 minus 3. Over. Well, 4y minus 6 is not a double bracket, but it has got a common factor of 2. Take 2 out then. 2 times 2 is 4, so 2y. 2 times 3 is 6, so minus 3. So you end up with this situation, same bracket top and bottom, so bye, 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 bye. Leaving 2y plus 3 on the top, over 2 on the bottom. Do not be tempted to say, well, divide that and then leave the 3 somehow. Can't do that. Just one thing divided by 2. So we're done there. 2y plus 3 over 2. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills. Show that 2 minus 2 cos squared x over cos squared x is 2 tan squared x. I bet I know what you're thinking. That trig identities. Quite often taught towards the end of the course. Quite often people find it quite hard. It is quite a hard topic. I will give you that. There's two trig identities you need to know. First one, sine x over cos x does equal tan x. And the second one, sine squared x plus cos squared x equals 1. Now, never touch the right-hand side, just the left-hand side, play around with it, and hopefully by the end it'll look like the right-hand side. That's the game. So let's look at the left-hand side first. 2 minus 2 cos squared x over cos squared x. So the first thing I quite look at is, before I do anything, is there any factorising or simplification I can do before I touch it? Well, the top, it's got to come back to 2. So I'll take that out. 1 minus cos squared x over cos squared x. Now it looks like, looking at my trig identities now, that I'm kind of stuck. But one of these can be rearranged 2 more times to make sine squared x and cos squared x the subject. Now you can either memorise these or just do it at the time. So I know that I've got lots of cos squareds here, so I wonder, if I rearrange this, I'll do it up here. I could have 1 minus cos squared x equals sine squared x, just by taking away cos squared x from both sides. Or I could have 1 minus sine squared x equals cos squared x. Well, what one do I want to get rid of? The most complicated one. 1 minus cos squared x is in my thing, and that equals sine squared x. So I might as well just replace it now. So that gives me 2 sine squared x over cos squared x. Well, without much work and much thinking, since my other one says that sine x divided by cos x is tan x, if I was to square everything, I'd have sine squared x over cos squared x equals tan squared x. So that must be tan squared x. So I could just write that. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2 Question 6. Express x squared minus 4x plus 11 in the form x plus a squared plus b. Now don't worry, it says plus and plus here. The SQA do mean plus or minus, okay? Because the number could be a negative number. So methods for this is, I take the x and I half the middle term straight away. So it's minus 2 because it's minus 4 squared. And I've still got the plus 11, so I write that. But in the last step, I take that number, the 2, and I just square it again. 2 2s is 4, so I take away 4. Forget the sign, just square the number. 2 2s is 4, take it away. That gives me x minus 2 all squared. 11 minus 4, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, plus 7. And that's it. We're done there. Sketch the graph on the axes provided. Show clearly of a turning point and the y-intercept. Well, the reason we complete the square, which is what part A is it actually tells you a turning point straight away. The turning point is very easy now. It's something to do with 2 and 7, the two numbers. And all you need to remember is, this one's sign changes. And the reason it changes is because when it turns, it's at its smallest point. In other words, when the bracket is 0. So you're just trying to make a bracket 0, 2 minus 2, so the number's 2. 2, 7. So that's me got that. Now it says the y-axis, y-intercept. It cuts the y-axis when the other letter is 0. So it's when x is 0. So subbing in that, you can sub it into the original one or the new one. The original one is easier. I get 0 squared minus 4 times 0 plus 11. Well, that's just 0, 0, 11. So it's 11. So I just write 11 on the y-axis. Along 2, doesn't have to be exact, just where's 2 roughly? It's below 7. And these have always got a curve because of parabolas. Quadratics make parabolas. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills Question 7. The diagram shows triangle SUV. USV is 23, it's in the diagram, and we've got 18 and 15 on the triangle. Find the obtuse angle SUV. We've got two rules we could use, the sine rule and the cosine rule. Now I'm trying to find an angle, and I've only got 2 sides, so it's the sine rule. If I had all 3 sides, it's the cosine rule. Or if I was trying to find a side and I had 2 sides, it's the cosine rule. Otherwise, it's the sine rule. Sine rule from the start of the exam paper, A over sine A, B over sine B, C over sine C. Don't get hung up on the letters because the letters are not even in the question. Opposites go together, okay? So this one and this one go together. So that's 18 over sine X. And this one and this one go together. So that's 15 over sine 23. I now need to rearrange that so I can think of it like a cross. 18 sine 23 equals 15 sine x. And now divide by 15, so sine x is 18 sine 23 over 15, which means that x, since I've got the sine, I need the inverse sine to get the angle. Inverse sine 18 sine 23 over 15. Now you might have worked out 18 sine 23 over 15 first, or you can just do it in the calculator in one go. Shift sine 18 sine 23, and it equals my bracket for my angle, a lot of people do. Then divide 15, and that's it, 27.96. Or if you prefer, about 28 degrees. But I would write the unrounded answer first. So what is wrong with that answer? Let's look back at the question. Calculate the obtuse angle SUV. I got 28. That's acute. It's a wee angle, small. How am I going to get the other angle? Two ways. Remember, CAST diagram tells you other angles, or using a trig graph, but use a CAST diagram. So if you think of a CAST diagram, I've found one angle at 28 degrees works for A, and I'm doing sine. The other angle's here, which is 180 minus. So the actual answer it's looking for is 180 minus 28, which is, well, I don't know. I can't be bothered working it out. 180 minus 28, 152. So the answer that I actually went for was 152 degrees. It was a trick question, and it almost got me. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills. The population of an occupied land is 2.1 times 10 to the 6 people in April 25. This is 8% less than it was 18 months ago. Calculate the population in October 2023. Give your answer in scientific notation. Okay, this is combining two skills here, reverse percentages and scientific notation. So if it was 8% less before, that's like 100% minus 8% equals 92%. So we can say that 92% equals 2.1 times 10 to the 6. Now, if I was doing a non-calculator question here, I'd maybe divide by 92 times 100. But with a calculator, to get back to 100%, we can just say we've got 2.1 times 10 to the 6. And we can just divide by that 92%, which is 0.92. 2.1 times 10 to the 6 divided by 0.92. If your calculator is not nice to you, it'll give you a non-scientific location. So I'm just going to write it down. 2282608.695 blah, blah, blah. Let's check what it wants us to do. Scientific notation, 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3 means I'm cutting here. So that's 2, 2, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0. Don't need anything after the point. So that's 2.28 times 10 to the power of every number after the first number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2.28 times 10 to the 6. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills. Question 9. The British and Irish Lions will take on Australia this summer to mark the occasion of produce special rugby golf balls, miniature and full size. Oh, it's going to be similarity. The full size has a width of 30 and a cubic volume of 4,500. Let me just take a note of that on the diagram. So that's 30 and its volume is 4,500. The width of the miniature is 12. So that's 12. And it says calculate the volume. Okay, I don't know the volume. So we're looking at scale factors here. And since we've got two lengths, we'll start with the linear scale factor, or the length scale factor. And I want to find it in the small one, so I'll start with the small one over the big one. Now, no need to simplify in a calculator paper like this, because I'm going to use it straight away. To work out the volume scale factor, you take your standard scale factor and you cube it, because volume's cubic. If it was area I was looking for, I'd square it. So then that means that my volume of my small one is simply my scale factor, 12 over 30 cubed, times whatever the volume of the big one was, which is 4,500. So we'll get a calculator, bracket 12 divided by 30, close bracket cubed, times 4,500, 288 centimetres cubed, and we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills, question 10. The weight in kilograms of 10 Highland cow calves are, well, the numbers. Find the median and same interquartile range. I'll be honest with you, I hate doing these questions. You need to put them in order, smallest to biggest. I'll usually miss one, but I'll try my best not to. I can see 21's the first one. And then I've got more 20s, 24, 25, 26. Try not to miss any. Mark them off as you go. Oops. See, I'm marking off things that don't even exist. 24, 25, 26. And then I think I'm moving to my 30s here. 32, 33. Blah, blah, blah. More 30s, 35, 37, 38. Probably run out of space in a minute. And then I've just got a 40 left. Okay, so I'm quite confident they're in order. So median means the one in the middle. So let's just check. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Up the middle's between these two. So my median's between them. So to work out the middle of two numbers, unless it's obvious, which it is in this case, you add them up and divide by 2, which would give you 32.5. Now, interquartile range means I need the lower quartile and the upper quartile. That's really just the median in the first half and the median in the other half. That's all it is. So I've already put my line in. It's now the middle of the first half up to the line, which is 25, and the middle of the second half from the line, which is 37. So I can write my median equals 32.5, technically kilograms, and my interquartile range, IQR, is simply the upper minus the lower, 12. If it asks you for semi-interquartile range because you're doing apps, you divide by 2. SQA National 5 Maths 2025 Paper 2 Essential Skills. A rectangular picture has an area of 187 centimetres squared. With the frame added, the total area is increased by another 60. Blah, show that equals that. So this is one of these ones where you have to make your own quadratic up and then solve it for part B. Now, if you can't do part A, don't waste your little time on it. Try your best, but really just do part B. Part B will always be, if it's calculator paper, quadratic formula. If it's non-calculator paper, chances are you'll be able to factorise it, but you're given the equation. That's why it's there. But I'll show you part A for the sake of completeness, and hopefully you can follow along. So sometimes these are hard, sometimes these are a little bit easier. Let's have a look at this one. So it says the total area is 187 plus 60. And I know the length from here to here is that, and the length from here to here is that. So I'm going to need the total area. So my total area, 187 plus 60. You might, by this stage in your life, just think I need a calculator because I can't be bothered thinking too much, to get 247. So how do you find the area of a rectangle? Well, it's just length times breadth. Well, I've got length, which is x plus 5, times the breadth, which is x. Well, most of the time you put that outside, so I'll put it there. Equals the total area, 247. That's it. Just play with that and hopefully you get the same as them. Expand the bracket. And just take the 247 to the other side to make a standard quadratic equal to 0. And aha, it is the same. So I'm done there. Calculate the value of x. Now notice it asks for the value 1. When it's a question like this in context, find the length. You do the quadratic formula, you'll get 2 answers. But chances are 1 will be negative, and you can't have a negative length, so you just disregard it. So yes, I can't use that one. Okay, so let's start. Quadratic formula from the start of the exam paper. Minus b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Where a is like 1 because it's 1x squared, b is 5 because it's 5x, and c is minus 247. So let's lead through this. Minus 5, always sub in because you get marks for subbing in. 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times minus 247 all over 2 times 1. There's a mark there usually. Second mark for working out a bit under the square root sign. So this is where I get my calculator and go right. 5 squared minus bracket 4 times 1 times minus 247, close my bracket, 1013 over 2. So if you get that 1013, you get a mark. So then you've got two answers, x equals minus 5 plus square root 1013, press equals, divide by 2, press equals, 13.413. Does it want it to one decimal place? Yeah, so unrounded answer first, 13.4, and always work out the other one anyway. So working out your second one, you've got minus 5 minus root 1013, press equals, divide by 2, press equals, minus 18.413, which is minus 18.4. So that means that you then just say length can't be negative. So x equals 13.4 units or centimetres. And we're done there. You need to clearly state what one you're picking. Basically, National 5 Maths 2025 Essential Skills Paper 2, question 12. In the diagram, PQRSTU is a regular hexagon with centre M. UT and PU are represented by A and B, and that's on the diagram. Find UM. So this is a vector diagram question. I want to go from U to M, and I'm only allowed to use vectors I know. So I could go that way, then that way, or I could go that way, then that way. What I couldn't do is I couldn't go up here, because I don't know anything about that line. It has to be the same direction as one I already know and the same size, or at least a multiple of it. So I'm just going to go the route that seems obvious to me, up A and along here. Well, that's minus B, because it's the opposite direction as B. So A minus B. It now says find R to P. Well, let's do a different colour for this. R is way up here. And I want to get down to P, which is way down here. Well, I can just take any route I want, remember, that I already know. So anything you want, I'm just going to go down this one. Well, that's the same as going A, but in the opposite direction. Along here, well, that's the same as B. Now, we knew that was A minus A plus B already, because it's the same as the other one, but you just do the route. And then back down here, well, down here is minus A again. So I've got minus A, which is minus 2A plus a B, minus 2A plus B, and we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025, Paper 2 Essential Skills. Jasmine takes part in an orienteering task around the points A, B, C. She walks 2.4 on a bearing of 61 from A to B, and then 3.1 on a bearing of 123 from B to C. Calculate A, B, C. First thing you always do with these questions, these are bearings questions, is you try and put in as many angles as you can, either from the question or working them out using angle rules. So let's see what it tells us. A bearing of 61 A to B. So starting at A, you go north, round clockwise 61. So that's 61. The other one it tells me is starting from B, round to C is 1, 2, 3. Now sometimes you might even need to draw your own north lines for these. Do I know anything else? Well, one little rule that's worth noting, between two north lines, the angles add up to 180. So I can do 180 minus 61 to get 119 up here. I can also do it for the other one. I'll probably not need it, but I'll just do it for the sake of completeness to get 57 down there. Now we have to calculate the size of angle ABC. So to calculate ABC, which is here, well, that's angles around the point that add up to 360. So 360 minus 119 minus 123 is 118. So it's 118 degrees. And we're done there. It now says, how far must Jasmine walk from C to A? So we have to calculate here. Well, we've got one side, two sides, and we're finding the third side. 1, 2, 3, cosine rule. So copying the cosine rule from the start of the exam paper, A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cos A. So what does that mean? If you've got the angle, the opposite one is the one you're finding. and then the sides at the side make up for that are your B and your C. Okay, so as long as you've got that, you're good to go. So I can just write it out: 2.4 squared plus 3.1 squared minus 2 times 2.4 times 3.1 times cos 118. So get my calculator out. That's a squared, remember. Bracket 2.4 squared plus 3.1 squared minus bracket 2 times 2.4 times 3.1 times cos 118, 22.3557. So I need to square root that. And notice I'm trying to avoid rounding to the end, 4.728, or if I want to round, which I don't need to, 4.7 kilometres. And we're done there. SQA National 5 Maths 2025, Paper 2 Essential Skills, question 14. The diagram shows the graph of y equals 2 tan x plus 1 being intercepted by the line y equals 5 at A and B. Find the calculate the coordinates of A and B. So if it shows you a graph intercepting another graph, it is simultaneous equations. It always is, right? So they both say y equals, so the game here is to say that 2 tan x plus 1, which is y, equals 5, which is also y. So it's actually a trig equation, this, not a trig graph question. So we'll try and solve that. 2 tan x equals 4. So tan x equals 4 divided by 2, which is 2. So I'll do my inverse tan of 2. Shift tan 2. 63.4 degrees. So that's one answer at some point. But there's two answers because of a cast diagram. And you should see from the graph there is two answers, an A and a B. So tan was positive. So I'm ticking T and A. If it was negative, I'd pick S and C. So it's T, it's X plus 180, where X is your angle. So it's 63.4 plus 180. Which is 243.4. So now I need to make sure I always answer the question. It says find the coordinates of A and B. It doesn't say find just the X bit. So I need to write A equals the first number. And then Y, remember, was 5. I don't need to work that out again. It told me in the question. So it's just 5. And B, 243.4 degrees, I'll put it on here, and 5 again. And we're done there. It's been Claire on Maths, and today we went through SQA National 5 Maths Essential Skills Paper 2. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did, consider subscribing or even become a member, because on the night before your exam, I'll be doing an exclusive live stream, only £4.99. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye.